It is better to be feared than loved, if you cannot be both. With these words, Machiavelli exposed the brutal truth that weak men still refuse to face. They crave love, attention, and applause because they mistake it for power. They live as beggars dressed as kings, stretching out their hands for the scraps of approval. What looks like strength in the glow of admiration is only dependency wearing a mask. When applause fades, so does their confidence, and the throne they thought they ruled collapses into dust. Attention is not authority. Respect is not given to the man who begs for it. Respect is claimed by the one who can stand without it. Weak men chase validation because they confuse the noise of the crowd for the security of a fortress. They do not see that the crowd can turn as quickly as it cheers. A ruler who builds his house on the sand of public approval will always be held hostage by the tide. You cannot claim mastery while chained to opinion. Here lies the advantage of the predator. The one who withholds validation commands the one who craves it. In every relationship, in every circle, the dynamic is the same. The needy bow to the indifferent. You have seen this play out, whether in a workplace where the insecure employee bends to please a cold superior, or in personal ties where one partner's silence dictates the other's desperation. Control belongs not to the loudest, but to the one who can remain unmoved. Your strength grows in proportion to how little you require from others. The hunger for approval is slavery with golden chains. It looks desirable, yet it binds you tighter with every compliment. The man who needs constant reassurance will never command, only comply. He becomes a pawn pushed across the board, predictable in his moves, because his only aim is to be liked. To escape this slavery, you must reverse the game. Stop reaching outward, anchor inward. Act from principle, not from applause. Choose conviction over consensus. Stand firm, even when no one claps. Lead even when no one cheers. The throne of power is built on self-sufficiency, not borrowed praise. Remember this final command. He who hungers for validation dies a slave. He who rules himself lives as king. Your mind is the throne. If you do not guard it, someone else will sit upon it. Weak men surrender this throne to the opinions of others, letting judgment and praise dictate their every move. They live as if the crown on their head belongs to the crowd, adjusting their posture, their speech, their very identity to please the shifting winds of approval. A man who allows his thoughts to be ruled by external voices is not a king, but a servant dressed in royal robes. Within this throne room exists an inner court. Every thought acts as a counselor. Some thoughts are loyal advisors, guiding you with reason and discipline. Others are traitors, whispering insecurity, demanding applause, insisting that you must be validated to have worth. When you give these traitors power, they poison the council, and soon every decision bends toward appeasing others. Guarding your mind means recognizing these inner enemies and stripping them of influence. The throne must be defended from within, before it can command without. The need for constant validation plays the role of the jester in the court. The jester entertains, but he is not fit to rule. Yet weak men hand him the scepter. Today the jester takes the form of likes on a screen, laughter from a crowd, and fleeting attention from people who give nothing lasting in return. You may feel the pull to post for approval, to craft words not for truth but for applause, to chase the laugh that signals acceptance. This is surrender. The jester thrives when you confuse entertainment with authority. Exile the jester by grounding your sense of worth in principle, not performance. History reveals the fate of rulers who confused popularity with power. Many princes sought to win love at the cost of fear and ended in ruin. Their pursuit of being liked made them hesitant to act decisively. Machiavelli, warned that a ruler who depends on being loved will fall when affection shifts, because love is fragile while fear endures. Leaders who secured their position did not beg for approval. They commanded respect through discipline, resolve, and consistency. The lesson is timeless. The pursuit of popularity weakens authority, but the defense of principle secures it. Carry this into your daily life. When disagreement arises, do not scramble for approval. Imagine someone dismissing your idea in a meeting. The weak man grows restless, rushing to defend himself with louder words, desperate to reclaim favor. The strong man listens calmly, weighs the comment with composure, and answers firmly without raising his tone. Authority comes not from pleasing everyone, but from holding the throne with steady hands. Command yourself with imperatives. Dismiss thoughts that beg for validation. Exile the gesture of approval seeking. Study history's examples and choose discipline over applause. Build your inner throne, so strong that no opinion can topple it. Rule your mind before you try to rule anything else. He who rules his mind wears the only crown that cannot be taken. The morning is a battlefield. The first strike determines whether you advance with power or stumble into defeat. Weak men surrender before the fight even begins. They wake not as commanders, but as servants, rushing to answer the alarms of others, checking messages, scrolling feeds, and allowing the world to dictate their opening move. Strong men rise differently. They recognize that dawn is the decisive moment when discipline seizes the initiative. Whoever commands the first hour of the day commands the rest. History shows that generals who acted before their enemy often secured victory with fewer losses. In strategy, hesitation invites defeat. In life, your hesitation each morning lets distractions storm the gates of your focus. The first strike of discipline is rising with purpose, not drifting with impulse. It is taking control before the enemy of laziness and dependency mounts its attack. When you choose order over chaos at the start, you declare yourself sovereign over the hours to come. Yet, most men sabotage themselves through distraction. The phone becomes the ambush, the feed a minefield, and the opinions of others the arrows that pierce concentration. The moment you open your eyes and hand attention to the digital crowd, you have ceded the throne of your mind. Instead of sharpening your weapons, you become a pawn reacting to signals designed to keep you weak. Validation waits in every notification, and weakness rushes to collect it. To escape this trap, you must treat distraction as an enemy campaign. Identify its tactics, expose its timing, and cut it down before it strikes. Refuse to let your first energy be spent on shallow approval. Victory comes through ritual. A general does not wander the battlefield without a plan. He drills his soldiers until their response is automatic. So must you design the first hour of your day as a ritual of sovereignty. Whether through writing, movement, or silence, you must affirm yourself before the world can touch you. This is not performance, it is fortification. Imagine beginning with deliberate focus while others scramble in chaos. You enter the day armored while they stumble unprepared. A ritual repeated with discipline becomes the fortress that no distraction can breach. Command your dawn. Strike first with discipline. Cut down distraction like an enemy ambush. Establish a ritual that crowns you king before the world speaks. Win the morning, and you seize the throne of the day. Stillness is a weapon, but weak men fear it. They rush to fill silence with chatter, to drown solitude with noise, because quiet reveals their emptiness. The man who cannot sit alone with his thoughts is already conquered. The battlefield of power is not only in action, but in restraint, in the ability to wait without breaking. Just as a predator waits in the shadows, patient and unhurried, The strong man uses stillness to sharpen timing and clarity. Weakness moves too quickly, chasing attention, desperate for validation. Strength waits, calculates, and strikes when the moment serves. The predator's patience is not passive. A wolf in the dark does not sleep. He observes, measuring the herd, deciding where to cut. Stillness allows the mind to clear, decisions to settle, and strategies to form. When you resist the urge to fill every pause, you claim an edge over those who cannot endure the discomfort of silence. In conversation, this patience unsettles others. They scramble to fill the void with words, while you grow more commanding by saying less. In life, it keeps you from acting rashly, allowing opportunities to come to you rather than being lost in the noise of reaction. History confirms this. Commanders often cultivated silence as a form of power. Some rulers rarely spoke in public, yet their restraint made their words carry more weight when finally delivered. Others maintained long pauses in negotiations, forcing their rivals to reveal weakness in the discomfort. Machiavelli observed that men often betray themselves under pressure, and silence creates that pressure without lifting a sword. Those who mastered quiet did not do so out of timidity, but because they understood that stillness projects control. The ability to withhold both action and speech until the right moment magnifies authority. Modern men, however, are addicted to noise. The phone vibrates, the feed refreshes, and the endless stream of chatter ensures they are never alone. This addiction is not harmless. It is dependency. Every ping is a pull of validation. Every like a drop of counterfeit strength. When you cannot detach from the flood of distractions, you hand over your sovereignty. You become a servant to noise, rather than a ruler of silence. Weak, I need constant input. Strong, I choose my input. Weak, I fear silence. Strong, I forge power in silence. To weaponize stillness, you must cut the cord that ties you to validation. Pause before reacting. Choose silence when words would weaken you. Begin and end your day with moments where no outside voice enters. Treat solitude not as absence, but as training. Each moment of stillness is sharpening the blade of your patience, preparing you for decisive strikes when the time is right. He who masters silence commands the battlefield of minds. Power is not gained by addition, but by subtraction. Weak men cling to everyone and everything, terrified of cutting ties because they fear being judged as cold or ruthless. Yet this very hesitation enslaves them to parasites who feed on their insecurity. The man who cannot eliminate what drains him will never command. Ruthless elimination is not cruelty, it is clarity. To rule your life, you must exile what weakens your sovereignty. Look closely at the people around you. Some offer strength, challenge, and loyalty. Others cling like vines, wrapping tighter with every moment you hesitate to cut them loose. They exploit your hunger for approval, praising you when it serves them, criticizing you when it keeps you compliant. These are not allies, they are parasites feeding on your need for validation. If you delay, they consume your time, energy, and authority. Exile them, not with anger, but with finality. Distance is often enough. Silence is a weapon sharper than confrontation. Weak, I cannot let them go. Strong, I cannot afford to keep them. History leaves no doubt that power often required decisive purges. Princes who tolerated disloyal courtiers paid the price in betrayal. Generals who hesitated to remove corrupt officers saw armies collapse. Those who acted swiftly secured stability because elimination sends a message. Disloyalty is death to trust. Machiavelli observed that cruelty, if necessary, must be delivered at once, for lingering softness breeds rebellion. The lesson is not to be brutal without cause, but to act without hesitation when weakness threatens your command. Elimination, when done decisively, strengthens the throne. The same principle applies within. Weak men cling to habits, excuses, and patterns that drain authority. Every time you chase applause instead of progress, you seat a traitor in your council. Every time you delay discipline, you welcome sabotage inside your walls. The inner purge is as essential as the outer one. Destroy excuses like enemies at the gate. Cut away the urge to explain yourself when unnecessary. Eliminate the constant chase for validation by building standards you answer to alone. Ruthlessness toward weakness is not self-hatred. It is loyalty to the crown of your mind. Consider how this looks in conflict. Someone questions your boundary, pushing to see if you will bend. A weak man fumbles, over-explains, and tries to soften the edge of his decision. A strong man states it once with calm finality, then eliminates the debate by refusing to continue. The difference is elimination, not allowing weakness to keep the door open for manipulation. Command yourself with the same precision. Exile the parasites who drain you. Purge the habits that enslave you. Act swiftly, without hesitation, when weakness shows itself. Ruthlessness here is not destruction, but protection of the throne. Cut without fear, or be consumed without mercy. Power is perception, and perception begins with presence. Weak men sabotage themselves by constantly displaying their hunger for recognition, exposing their need like an open wound. Strong men understand the mask of command, a composed exterior that projects certainty regardless of inner turmoil. Authority is not granted to the one who shouts the loudest, but to the one who stands calm while others lose control. History reminds us that leaders who projected composure often secured loyalty even in crisis. By appearing steady, they inspired confidence, because people follow the figure who seems least shaken. Composed presence is your first weapon. When you carry yourself with quiet certainty, others instinctively measure themselves against you. Desperation, on the other hand, strips you of power instantly. Think of how a leader who panics infects everyone with fear, while a leader who stays calm in the same storm steadies the entire group. The difference is not in knowledge, but in control of demeanor. Command yourself, and you command others without words. Weak. Look at me. I deserve respect. Strong. Observe me. I need no announcement. Calculated mystery strengthens this mask. Weak men expose their insecurity by over-explaining, oversharing, and constantly seeking reassurance. They reveal every detail of their hand, like a careless player in chess, hoping that transparency will win affection. But fascination is born in restraint. When you reveal less, you force others to wonder more. In a modern world obsessed with broadcasting, the one who holds back becomes rare and magnetic. You must resist the urge to answer every doubt or defend every choice. Silence here is not emptiness, it is strategy. Consider a disagreement at work. A weak man interrupts, rushes to justify, and grows louder with each objection, hoping validation will secure his standing. A strong man listens, allows silence to stretch, then responds once with clarity and brevity. The room leans toward him because composure is influence, while defensiveness is submission. His mystery unsettles opponents, and his restraint creates authority. The mask of command transforms the battlefield of perception into his advantage. Silent influence completes the picture. Influence does not require constant speech. In fact, words often weaken what posture and timing already command. Imagine walking into a room and speaking last after everyone else has exhausted their noise. Your silence has already framed you as above the scramble. When you finally speak, even simple words carry weight because they are not scattered but measured. This is not manipulation, it is mastery of restraint. You earn more by speaking less, by allowing others to reveal themselves while you remain unreadable. Master the mask. Project composure even when storms rage inside. Withhold enough to create fascination. Speak sparingly, so every word strikes like a sword. Remember, power is not only in action, but in perception, and perception is yours to command. Wear the mask of command, and the world bows before the throne you project. The most dangerous assassin is not outside your gates. It is the one hidden within your own walls. Weakness, in the form of validation seeking, moves quietly, whispering that you must be liked, praised, or accepted before you act. This inner assassin kills authority long before any external enemy arrives. If you wish to rule, you must hunt it down without hesitation. You cannot wear a crown if you bow to voices inside your own head that beg for approval. The first step is creating a kill list. Every thought that craves validation must be named and marked. When you catch yourself planning words to win applause, write it down. When you notice the urge to post only for likes, record it. Each entry is a traitor exposed. Once identified, strike it down through discipline. Replace the craving for approval with the action itself. Speak the truth plainly, not for reaction, but for clarity. Train your mind to detach worth from feedback. Each time you refuse to feed the assassin, you weaken it. Each time you starve insecurity, you strengthen your sovereignty. History proves the cost of hesitation. Leaders who allowed disloyalty to linger invited betrayal. Those who acted swiftly, eliminating threats without delay, secured their throne. Machiavelli noted that cruelty, if necessary, must be delivered in one decisive stroke, for mercy toward treachery breeds rebellion. The same applies to your inner court. If you let the assassin of neediness survive, it will strike again and again, sabotaging your authority. But if you execute it at once, cutting away dependency with firm action, you prevent future sabotage. Ruthlessness here is not brutality, it is self-defense. Modern life provides endless opportunities for this assassin to thrive. Social media is its favorite weapon, tempting you with likes, comments, and digital applause. Many men scroll endlessly, refreshing their feed as if their worth rises with the numbers on a screen. This is neediness disguised as connection. Replace that hunger with skill. Build competence so sharp that results speak louder than approval. Replace begging with producing. Weak. Do they notice me? Strong. They cannot ignore what I build. Weak. I need praise. Strong. I need progress. The assassin of neediness dies when you act from mastery, not reaction. Even in conflict, the assassin lurks. Someone challenges you, and the weak instinct is to over-defend, to seek recognition as reasonable or nice. The strong instinct is different. A calm pause, a clear statement, and silence. You do not feed the assassin by chasing their approval. You eliminate it by standing firm, indifferent to whether they agree. Your greatest enemy is not the critic outside, but the craving inside. Identify it, mark it, kill it without hesitation. Replace neediness with skill. Replace hunger for praise with hunger for progress. Replace insecurity with command. Slay the inner assassin, or it will slay your throne. The wolf does not beg for food. It hunts. It thrives on independence, sharpened by hunger and discipline. Weak men, however, live like sheep, always waiting for the shepherd's call, surviving only on approval handed down from others. The wolf grows stronger because it endures solitude, challenge, and scarcity. The sheep grows weaker because it depends on being fed. If you wish to command respect, you must stop grazing where others allow and start feeding your strength through your own effort. The predator's meal is not comfort, but challenge. A wolf feeds on the discipline of rising, when it would be easier to rest, on the struggle that others avoid. and on the silence that others fear. Each act of discipline is meat that thickens your strength. Each hour of solitude is bone that hardens your frame. Each challenge faced without applause is blood that fuels your independence. Weak men chase validation because they starve without it. Strong men hunt growth, feeding themselves with the victories no one sees. The predator thrives because it does not wait for approval to survive. Sheep, on the other hand, live in starvation disguised as safety. Their worth depends on the shepherd's recognition, just as weak men depend on likes, comments, or compliments. They believe they are secure because someone feeds them, but that security is slavery. The moment approval disappears, they collapse. You see this daily in men who cannot function without constant reassurance, whose moods swing with every notification. Weak, I need someone to recognize me. Strong, I recognize myself. Weak, feed me. Strong, I hunt for myself. Dependence always leaves you vulnerable. Independence makes you untouchable. History honors those who fed their inner wolf. Commanders who led armies through impossible terrain, thinkers who stood against ridicule, rulers who acted on conviction instead of consensus, all thrived because their strength came from within. Machiavelli noted that fortune favors those who seize boldly, not those who wait to be handed safety. The wolf endures storms because it has sharpened itself through hunger. Leaders who survived history's tests did not seek to be loved. They built resilience by feeding their willpower in solitude, preparing to dominate when the moment came. This principle applies to you now. If you constantly seek others to affirm your worth, you remain a sheep under someone's hand. Replace the shepherd with the hunt. Stop asking for recognition and start building results. Replace external approval with inner discipline. Instead of craving constant reassurance, fuel yourself with progress. In conversation, when someone withholds praise or recognition, do not stumble. Maintain composure. Show through action that your strength does not need their approval. This is feeding the wolf, sustaining yourself without the permission of others. Strength grows when you feed it daily. Starve the sheep inside you. Hunt challenge. Embrace solitude. Build discipline. The wolf inside you does not need applause to survive. It needs only your will to feed it. Feed the wolf, and you will never bow like the sheep. Life is not checkers, it is chess. Weak men chase validation because they play the shallow game of claps and attention, where the goal is to make quick moves that look impressive. But power is not won in flashes. It is secured through long strategy, silent preparation, and decisive endgames. The chessboard of life exposes the difference. The weak reveal themselves by grabbing pawns for applause, while the strong advance with patience toward checkmate. Short-term gambits are the weakness of validation seekers. Every compliment, every fleeting cheer is a pawn captured at the cost of real position. It feels like victory but achieves nothing. You see it when someone rushes to impress in conversation, interrupting just to win a nod, only to lose respect by appearing desperate. Weak, I won their attention. Strong, I secured their respect. One plays for noise, the other for silence that lasts. Each time you chase applause, you trade long-term authority for momentary gratification. To rise above, treat validation like pawns, expendable, cheap, and never the true prize. Strategic sacrifice separates rulers from pawns. In chess, the wise player often lets go of pieces to gain position, sacrificing approval now to secure control later. History is filled with leaders who endured scorn in the present to consolidate strength for the future. Machiavelli noted that a prince must often act against pity, faith, or kindness to preserve the state, because survival outweighs perception. The lesson for you is clear. Accept being misunderstood, disliked, even doubted in the moment, if it protects your strategy. Do not seek constant reassurance. Let others misjudge you while you advance toward your true endgame. The crowd laughs today, but it kneels tomorrow when your foresight delivers results. The invisible game is the ultimate expression of strength. Most men reveal their hunger with every move, boasting of progress, flaunting minor victories, begging to be seen. But the master plays unseen. He advances quietly, building foundations that no one applauds until they are undeniable. This is not secrecy for its own sake, but the discipline to move without broadcasting. In a disagreement, for example, the weak man rushes to defend himself loudly, while the strong man holds silence, letting his results end the debate later. The invisible game frustrates opponents because they cannot predict what they cannot see. Command yourself to stop chasing pawns. Sacrifice approval when necessary. Advance invisibly toward real power. The chessboard does not reward noise, it rewards foresight. Play for checkmate, not for claps. Power is not built in bursts of inspiration, but in the forge of ritual. Weak men dissolve in their impulses, chasing feelings, distractions, and validation. Strong men bind themselves with iron laws, repeating disciplined actions until they harden into armor. The difference between the sovereign and the slave is not talent but repetition. Each strike of the hammer on the anvil shapes the will into something unbreakable. Without ritual, you are clay in the hands of the crowd. With ritual, you become steel. The forge of repetition has always been the birthplace of power. Generals drilled soldiers not for comfort, but to make discipline instinctive under fire. The same principle applies to your mind and body. What you do daily, you become. If you train your focus, train your silence, and train your actions through consistent patterns, you build armor that no distraction can pierce. Weak men avoid this forge because it feels monotonous. Strong men endure it because they know repetition transforms weakness into instinctive strength. Ritual is the slow, relentless fire that shapes command. Breaking the chain of craving begins here. Validation is an addiction, and like any addiction, it demands a counterforce. Ritual provides that counterforce by replacing craving with structure. If you begin your day with a sequence that strengthens you before the world's noise enters, you are less likely to bow to the pull of approval. Modern men often roll over to their phones, checking if they are seen, liked, or noticed. This is slavery to attention. Replace it with a ritual that declares sovereignty. Move your body, write your plan, sit in silence. Whatever action builds strength instead of dependency. Weak, I need recognition to act. Strong, I act regardless of recognition. The chain snaps when you choose structure over craving. The oath to oneself is the final seal. A king does not need the crowd's applause to know he is king. He binds himself to his own law. You must do the same. Imagine declaring loyalty to your will alone. You tell yourself, these are the rules I follow. Not because they win me approval, but because they crown me with self-respect. This oath is not spoken once. It is renewed daily in the rituals you uphold. Each time you honor it, your throne grows higher. Each time you betray it for validation, you weaken your crown. Command requires that you bind yourself before you command others. Forge your strength through repetition. Break your cravings through ritual. Swear loyalty to your will, not the applause of the crowd. Discipline is the iron crown that no hand can remove. The final stage of power is indifference to validation. Weak men spend their lives bowing to opinions, adjusting themselves to win praise, terrified of disapproval. Strong men rise above it. They become the throne itself, immovable and sovereign. When you no longer need applause, you begin to command real respect. Those who seek to be loved are vulnerable. Those who stand firm, indifferent to whether they are loved, feared, or doubted, become untouchable. The predator above praise is feared and respected precisely because it does not need recognition. History shows this clearly. Leaders who placed survival, order, or results above popularity often endured where others collapsed. Machiavelli observed that being feared can be more secure than being loved, for love is fragile while fear is reliable. The man who no longer craves affection cannot be manipulated with it. The crowd may applaud or condemn, but it does not change his posture. Authority is born when you no longer trade strength for affection. In today's world, the modern fortress is built through emotional detachment. This does not mean coldness or isolation. It means you refuse to let your state of mind be dictated by likes, comments, or fleeting praise. Most men are trapped in a cycle of validation, posting, waiting, refreshing, reacting. They build their worth on the shifting approval of strangers. This is a fortress of sand, collapsing with every wave of opinion. To become untouchable, you must construct walls of stone, principles, discipline, and self-respect. Detach from the chase, and you will find that the world adjusts to you instead of the other way around. Weak. I need their approval to stand tall. Strong. I stand tall whether they approve or not. The untouchable state is the highest form of sovereignty. It is the condition where you bow to no opinion but your own, where your compass is internal, not external. This is not arrogance, it is mastery. Imagine walking into a room where others whisper, criticize, or ignore you. The weak man bends, trying to win them over, offering jokes, explanations, or compromises. The strong man remains calm, unmoved, carrying himself as if nothing is owed. In time, those who mocked are unsettled, because indifference to validation radiates an aura of dominance. Authority belongs to the one who cannot be swayed by flattery or insult. To reach this stage, you must train daily. Build your fortress of detachment. Abandon the addiction to claps and praise. Anchor yourself in principles that no applause can alter. Replace the hunger for approval with the discipline of sovereignty. Respect flows not to the man who begs for it, but to the man who needs nothing from anyone. The one who needs nothing cannot be touched. It is better to be feared than loved, if you cannot be both. With this truth, Machiavelli tore away illusions that still rule weak men today. They chase love, praise, and recognition as if applause were the crown itself. But the throne does not belong to the man who begs for approval. It belongs to the one who no longer needs it. The journey has led here through the throne of mind, the battlefield of mourning, the silence of stillness, the ruthless elimination of weakness, the mask of command, the assassin within, the wolf of independence, the chessboard of strategy, the iron ritual of will, and finally the untouchable state. Now all converge in the final form, the predator king, sovereign over himself, indifferent to validation, commanding respect without asking. The predator king is the apex of mastery. Like the lion who does not need to announce he is king, his presence alone dictates the order of the field. You embody him when you rule your thoughts like a throne, discipline your dawn like a battlefield, and let silence sharpen your timing. You wield elimination like a blade, cutting away parasites and excuses. You wear the mask of command, projecting composure even in storms. You kill the assassin within, feed the wolf of strength, move on the chessboard unseen, bind yourself with iron laws, and stand untouchable by flattery or insult. This is sovereignty not dependent on applause but born from indifference to it. When you no longer crave recognition, recognition flows to you. History proves this pattern. Leaders who tied their fate to popularity collapsed when affection turned. Princes who depended on love found themselves betrayed when fortune shifted. But those who built authority on discipline, fear, and results endured. Machiavelli noted that men forget kindness but never forget strength. A ruler who secured stability through firmness commanded long after the crowd's feelings faded. Julius Caesar's caution against over-trusting popularity, or rulers who imposed order at the cost of being disliked, revealed that approval is fleeting, but authority forged in strength endures. The predator king does not reject admiration, but he never depends on it. In modern life, the same law governs. We live in an age addicted to likes, followers, and endless validation loops. Weak men measure their worth in numbers on a screen, constantly adjusting themselves to trends. But this creates dependence. The crowd is fickle, turning its gaze in a heartbeat. When you anchor your value in their attention, you are enslaved. The one who becomes untouchable builds a fortress of self-respect that no opinion can breach. Detachment is the armor in a world of noise. Emotional sovereignty makes you rare, and rarity commands fascination. The man who no longer bends for validation becomes the one the world bends toward. This transformation is not abstract. Imagine a disagreement where someone mocks your idea publicly. The weak man panics, scrambling to win approval, laughing nervously, or over-explaining to appear agreeable. The strong man listens, responds with composure, and refuses to chase validation from the crowd. Over time, the weak man is forgotten, while the strong man becomes the reference point for authority. His refusal to bow makes others bow in time. Your task is to rise through the stages until indifference to validation becomes natural. Do not chase claps. Strategize like chess. Do not fear silence. Weaponize it. Do not cling to weak habits. Eliminate them. Do not beg for respect. Project it through presence. Replace the hunger for applause with the hunger for mastery. Replace the need for recognition with the discipline of sovereignty. Weak, I need them to see me. Strong, I see myself, and that is enough. The Predator King does not belong to history alone. He is available to you if you claim the throne within. In an age where men dissolve in the flood of opinions, the one who stands firm becomes the unshakable pillar. Authority, respect, and influence flow to the man who does not chase them. You do not need to beg for recognition when you have built yourself into something that cannot be ignored. This is the final convergence of all principles. Rule yourself with sovereignty, cut away weakness, live by discipline, cloak yourself in composure, and become untouchable. The man who no longer seeks validation is the man who commands it without effort. Be the throne, not the beggar before it. Weak men chase validation, and in doing so place themselves on the lowest rung of power. The cost of failure is not abstract. It is slavery. When your worth depends on others, you cannot act freely. Every move is chained to opinion, every decision weighed against applause. You hesitate, you bend, you compromise, and in that compromise you lose command. History has shown that rulers who depended on popularity fell quickly when affection shifted. The same happens to you in smaller forms. When you live for validation, you are prey, waiting to be fed instead of hunting for yourself. The chains are subtle but lethal. A compliment becomes your oxygen. A like on a screen becomes your measure of progress. You mistake recognition for reality, and soon you cannot move without it. The predator spots this weakness instantly. Anyone who controls your validation controls you. They can withhold, and you will bend. They can criticize, and you will shrink. They can flatter, and you will follow. This is the price of failure, your crown handed to the crowd. Yet mastery offers a different path. When you refuse the chase, you inherit freedom. The man who no longer needs approval becomes fearless, because nothing can be taken from him. In a modern world obsessed with being seen, the one who does not beg for visibility stands apart. Colleagues, rivals, and allies alike respect the man who acts from principle, not applause. They sense the fortress of composure that cannot be rattled. Validation flows to him precisely because he does not demand it. Weak. I hope they notice me. Strong. I move whether they notice or not. This strength carries into every arena. In conversation, when someone dismisses your idea, you do not scramble to win back favor. You hold steady, state your case with clarity once, and let silence do the rest. Over time, people learn that your worth is not up for debate. You embody the throne instead of bowing to the crowd. The promise of victory is command of self, of time, of influence. It is the ability to move untouched through noise, unshaken by insult, unhumbled by flattery. Reject the chains. Anchor yourself in discipline, not approval. Act from principle, not applause. Build yourself so strong that recognition becomes irrelevant. Remember the final command: he who needs nothing is untouchable. He who begs is already defeated.